Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be a very, very interesting live stream. And it's just so fitting. Like, Democrats cannot win at anything. They cannot even win at propaganda, corruption. They have a massive, massive espionage issue, whether it's servers outside the United States government, whether it's Hillary Clinton using a server for convenience and for yoga to store her yoga emails, which is the most absurd fake news, the original fake news of all time. Dean Diefendorf, greetings from South Beach, Miami. Thank you, Dean. Thank you very much. Thank you. To my super chat, thank you so much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams. Dean Diefendorf, thank you so very much for always watching. So let's get right to it. This is just really, really interesting. When you combine the fact that Hillary Clinton's server was hacked by a foreign entity, not Russia, according to Louis Gohmert and according to the Inspector General, Charles McAuliffe. So the security breaches on the Democratic side are like insane. Then you have the issue of the Awan scandal, which wasn't even investigated. They did not investigate the fact that the Awans had access to servers, not just congressional servers, but there had been reports. Well, I mean, even the congressional server, they said, well, they used it to store photos. These excuses are absurd. Like, well, we investigated, we found nothing. That's called a cover-up. That's not even an investigation. It's basically like, well, a crime was committed, and well, we looked at it and there was nothing there, even though there's a lot there. So this is the CBS. So I mean, the Awan is just one scandal. The Awan scandal is just one scandal. Unauthorized access to a congressional server is a big problem, a huge problem. And then you have Hillary Clinton's server outside the United States government. Then she had a successor server, we find out, related to Platte River, the company that she outsourced all her emails to before retroactive classification and before she found out that she had 22 top secret emails. So this is all information outside the United States government. The Clinton Foundation itself is probably a haven for just spies. I mean, beyond belief in terms of the amount of spies that it probably is susceptible to, or espionage. Roosevelt, thank you, Roosevelt. Thank you, Roosevelt, very much. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you, Roosevelt. Cha-ching, cha-ching. I want to know why Feinstein had a driver for 20 years. Taxpayer fund for this nonsense. Exactly. Taxpayers fund for this. Exactly. I agree with you 100%. Roosevelt, thank you so very much. Thank you, Roosevelt. And cha-ching, cha-ching, I agree with you. Let's go ahead and dive into yet another Democrat susceptible to espionage from around the world. Details surface about Chinese spy who worked for Senator Feinstein. This is the San Francisco CBS local, and Trump actually tweeted this out. So here is the article, CBS local. And we have a situation here. Okay, so Dianne Feinstein, details surface about Chinese spy who worked for Senator Feinstein. San Francisco, new details emerged Wednesday about how a mole for the government of Communist China managed to stay by Dianne Feinstein's side for nearly 20 years. Ladies and gentlemen, she had this spy for 20 years. The 20-year spy. There should be a book called The 20-Year Spy. Again, let me repeat myself. 20 years. And they're worried about Russian election hacking. They can't even prove it took place. They're moderately to highly confident. She had a 20-year relationship, 20 years, 2 decades, with a spy who was then relaying information. I don't blame China, by the way, and I don't blame the spy. This is nothing against the Chinese government or the spy, because you have to be smarter than that. We have spies there also, okay? They do it to us, we do it to them. It's not about that. You just have to be better at the game. You can't be a sloppy drunk, the sloppy drunk of espionage, Hillary Clinton. And then you have Dianne Feinstein, who, by the way, her claim to fame also is being spied on by Brennan, whose claim to fame is spying on the Senate. Not only were the Chinese spying on Dianne Feinstein, but the United States, the Central Intelligence Agency was spying also. Obama's CIA. Ever wonder why John Brennan didn't get charged for perjury? So you have a situation where everyone's spying on Democrats. Even Democrats are spying on themselves. Then you have this today, the former CIA director, erratic and unpredictable U.S. policy threatens national security. Give me a break. This is Michael Hayden, who said that Hillary was the lesser evil, even though she had an unencrypted server outside the United States government with top secret and special access program intelligence. Give me a break. Give me a break. That's ridiculous. For 20 years, Feinstein had a spy. And okay, so it happened 5 years ago, but additional information is just surfacing how the Bay Area Senator office was infiltrated by a Chinese spy. She's part of the Senate Intelligence Committee. She's part of highly classified. Her driver or the spy had access to highly classified information because he served as like a gopher or an aide, pretty much, where he would go ahead and work at her home. You may remember the thick black smoke that billowing from building before. You may remember the thick black smoke that billowing from building before Russian diplomat turned it over to authorities, presumably produced by burning documents. That makes no sense, but okay. Now all eyes are on Chinese intelligence in the Bay Area after the website Politico reported last week that a staffer for Senator Dianne Feinstein turned out to be a Chinese spy who reported back to the government officials about local politics. On Wednesday, the San Francisco Chronicle uncovered additional details in a column written by reporters Phil Madier and Andy Ross. The column revealed that the Chinese spy was Feinstein's driver, who also served as a gopher in her Bay Area office and was a liaison to the Asian American community. So let's assume that he didn't have access. Let's just assume that Feinstein didn't bring classified data, which would be a first for Democrats, into her office. Okay, let's assume that, well, you know what, she followed protocol and she just kept classified data in areas of the government where it should be kept. He still had access to her office. He still had access to everything that she was planning on doing, which then gives you intelligence. Intelligence isn't just derived from top secret data. Even Michael Hayden, the guy who says, oh my God, you know, everything's going, this is really erratic. Trump is really erratic. Well, I don't know what our how is Trump's foreign policy erratic? He presided over peace between North and South Korea, the beginning of peace. It's not a one shot, straight line to peace, but there was détente. You had an amazing meeting between Moon Jae-in of South Korea and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. They were shaking hands. It was a beautiful moment in the history of the world. And instead of saying, okay, well, we're actually safer as a country. Oh my God, it's erratic. We have to worry about Russian election hacking, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world, because they informed us that Bernie Sanders was cheated. There were like a million other reasons she lost, from Comey's letter to the fact that she was actually under criminal investigation to the fact that it was a cover-up and people couldn't stand it. She visited. She was in Arizona a week before the election, and in 2015, I said she would lose to Trump. So he even attended Chinese consulate functions for the senator. How is that possible? Feinstein, who was chair of a Senate Intelligence Committee at the time, was reportedly mortified when the FBI told her she'd been infiltrated. Any notes that she had regarding the classified information, so maybe her notes weren't classified, although maybe they could have been retroactively classified, this man had access to. This man had access to everything because, in one way or another, because he had access to her office. So again, this is just blatant hypocrisy. You're worried about a hack that we don't even know took place. The DNC is being sued by BuzzFeed. Their entire propaganda machine is imploding. They're being crushed by their own corruption, and they don't even know it. They have no idea. They're going to get completely obliterated peacefully and politically in the midterms. They're going to get obliterated. Like I said, Clinton would lose in 2015. They're going to lose the House and the Senate again. Again. Because they're horrible. They're horrible in so many ways. They're the ones who are the biggest, they make the most egregious mistakes regarding keeping secrets safe. And then they blame Trump for being a Putin puppet. Or what was it? Mika Brzezinski the other day at MSNBC, she was like, oh my God, he's going crazy. It's like nobody believes you anymore. Nobody believes the media anymore. They hate the media because the media is complete and utter spin. That's what fake news is about. It's the complete and utter spin. Roosevelt. HA, I did a video featuring your talk on QAnon. Please check your Twitter from Roosevelt 2017. Okay, hold on one second. Roosevelt, thank you so much. Okay, let me go ahead and Roosevelt 2017. Let me go on my Twitter. Twitter. Come on, Twitter. Oh my God, a lot of DMs. Eric H526, thank you. Okay, hold on. Let me see this. So many DMs. Crazy. My God. Some fake account is impersonating me. Okay, and they're trying to. So I'm going to just really quickly. I'm just going to let Mrs. Assange know, Christine Assange, that yeah, I mean, it's just there's like a fake account now. So anyway, it's just so okay. So let me go ahead and so Roosevelt. I'm going to find out toggle of Bailgun. This comes after she loses support of the state Democratic Party. Yeah, Democrats media knew and said nothing, even though she was on the Intelligence Committee and the nation's secrets were at risk. I know. This is crazy. Toggle of Bailgun. This is crazy. So let me go ahead and Roosevelt. Let me see if I can find Roosevelt the Deplorable. Is that you? Thank you. QAnon uses fake fortune. Yes. So everybody go ahead. Whoa. Thank you, Roosevelt. That's the actual clip. You're awesome. Everybody subscribe to Roosevelt. Roosevelt, thank you. This is awesome. Roosevelt has 274 subs. He needs 2,000, 20,000 subs. This is really cool. Everyone subscribe to Roosevelt right now. Okay? Roosevelt the Deplorable. Everyone subscribe to Roosevelt the Deplorable right now. Pat, Kelpie, I love the Irish people. I love Ireland. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Pat. Thank you. So Roosevelt, thank you. So Roosevelt, thank you so very much. Thank you, Roosevelt. Now I have stupid fake accounts trying to pretend they're me. Whatever. So dumb. So let's just continue. So on Wednesday, the San Francisco Chronicle uncovered additional details in a column written by report. Okay, so the spy even attended Chinese consulate functions for the senator. By the way, like, again, this is nothing against China or even the spy. This is against Feinstein. You have to be smarter than this. You're part of the Senate Intelligence Committee. You have to be smarter. You have to, I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess they passed the background check, but I mean, you have to have continual background checks. You have to have, you know, you go through more to buy a firearm in Los Angeles and in California than being a driver for the Senate Intel, one of the heads of the Senate Intel Committee. He even attended China. Okay, so Feinstein, who was chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee at the time, was reportedly mortified. Well, who cares if she was mortified? It's called hypocrisy. Roosevelt, thank you so very much. I just went ahead and retweeted it, and I really thank you very much. It's very cool of you to do that. So thank you. Thank you, Roosevelt. I really greatly appreciate that. And actually, what you did was you connected it to the actual Orson Welles clip, which was fantastic. So Roosevelt, thank you. You deserve way more than 274 subs because I saw some other stuff you were doing. You should have 2,000. You should have 10,000. Toggle of Billigan, yeah, I know. I know. I agree with you. So, and then, yeah, Bud Drake, and then and then Dianne Feinstein says Trump is suspicious. She's like, I just don't know about Trump. We have to really keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, her driver is like, you know, going into her office and, you know, and it wasn't just her driver. It was like somebody you trust. So your driver, you go into the office. She allowed the guy to be, to represent her in a consulate meeting. How does it even work? Think about Dianne Feinstein, what she had access to. Okay, so a former FBI agent and KPIX5 security analyst Jeff Harp said he was not surprised. Well, think about what Dianne Feinstein had access to. One, she had access to the Chinese community here in San Francisco, great amount of political influence. Two, correct me if I'm wrong, Dianne Feinstein still has a very close ties to the intelligence committees there in Washington, D.C. I'm telling you, it happens both ways. Yes, Republicans are compromised too. Nobody's more compromised than Democrats. Democrats are the most absent-minded. They pretend to be security hawks because that's their weakest, that's their weakness. They have an over-reliance. Well, they have a reliance. You shouldn't have any reliance on outside servers. There shouldn't even have been an issue with servers and the Awans. And then they investigated, quote unquote, and they said, oh, well, they were storing family photos. It's the stupidest thing in the world. And then Hillary's like, well, it was yoga and, yoga and wedding planning. It's the stupidest, dumbest thing in the world. Who believes that? What kind of moron believes, what kind of idiot believes all that stuff? Anyway. So Roosevelt, thank you again. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. People are upset with me about, dissing a message board. No, I'm not going to get started again. I'm not going to get started again. This allegiance to a message board is dangerous and very pathetic. I'm really upset with you over what? This is not God. This is not a family member. This is not a human being. It is a message board with different trip codes. Carol Fryer, and thank you again. Carol Fryer, thank you. I want no single J. I'm not going Q. I'm just saying it's a message board. People love it. On Twitter, they're upset with me because I retweeted Roosevelt's thing. It's the dumbest thing in the world, okay? Look, I was thinking, like, well, how did people are telling me, like, one person, like, well, you know what? Q, there was like 3+ signs, and then Trump did 3+ signs, and then he hopped on his leg, and then he passed gas, and then Q did 2, and then they just went, like, it was like Simon Says, and then Q did Simon Says 2, and don't you know, it's not a coincidence. This is a higher power. It's like, come on. This is what they do. H predicted this stuff. H predicted everything that happens good. Tony Podesta, H predicted. Do I get, do I tell people to owe allegiance to me? No. H predicted Clinton losing. No. Every day H predicts, says something big's happening. But I don't say trust the plan. I don't. Meteor can hit us tomorrow, so there's no plan here. Okay, focus. I have to focus. Okay, focus. Focus, AJ. Focus. H predicted this. Focus. And okay, last thing. There's no research here. They're like, dude, you haven't done your research. What? It's a bunch of questions that message board asks. And then people feel good about themselves because they feel a part of something. Well, who cares? I bet the people at Jonestown felt a whole lot. They were very part of something until then the punch thing happened. That wasn't fun at all. Carol Fryer, thank you. HA non-trust. HA non-trust. Scott Bigler. Lum Lum. You have my allegiance. Lum Lum, thank you. Lum Lum, you and I. We will do it. Get the deep state. Scott Bigler. I'll be happy when Feinstein is out of office, but hey, dude, she's running against the dude she's running against is crazier than she is. Keep it up. H.J. Damas. Thank you, Scott Bigler. Yeah. But that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. The left isn't really the left. They have certain things that, so Scott Bigler, you're 100% right, but left is actually crumbling as we speak, because that whole thing with Bernie, Bernie's movement, it's completely destroyed. Bernie's movement was like 10 different things. They're focusing on one single payer, and Barack Obama deported 2.5 million people. And everything that took place under Trump happened under Obama, one way or another, sometimes much worse. That was actually in New York Magazine, where human traffickers, this is a New York Magazine article where the Senate talked about human traffickers. That Obama's administration were just handing kids over to caretakers. They didn't need to do background checks or anything. And then they worked on they were then given to people who were like the most horrendous people. And that was the Senate. That was a Senate probe, and it was documented by New York Magazine and other publications. I think the Washington Post as well. Scott Bigler, thank you. Carol Fry, thank you. So H predicted all of this. What do you want from me? H predicted this. You don't listen. H predicted a lot, but you can call me, a punk, a dummy, a moron, and I'm not going to get that upset. Whatever. I get called that every day. Even today, you're a shill. You're a shill anyway. I trusted you, you shill. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, getting back to Dianne Feinstein. You could have been a contender. You could have been a contender. You had potential, HA. You had potential to believe in a message board with different trip codes that is obviously quoting Bible verses. Just quick question before we go on. Does Q quote Bible verses, yes or no? Because that's what I read. Was that Q that I read quoting a Bible verse? Yes or no? I wait for the first answer. Once, yes. Okay. I'm going to let you know something right now, okay? Any message board that quotes Bible verses is a complete manipulation tactic. It's a complete manipulative tactic. Do you understand? You understand? That's a manipulative tactic, especially with the words like patriots and Bible verses. They're targeting a specific individual. This individual is very close to me. I mean, this individual and me share a lot of viewpoints. The difference being that when you listen to Orson Welles and Harry Houdini with the seances, and Orson Welles with the cold reading, and everything from Y2K to the whole, Pizzagate thing, doesn't mean that there aren't, that issue, that there isn't that issue going on. Yes, but the theory of making claims. By the way, the Russia hacking is a conspiracy theory. The left has a conspiracy theory too. The difference is the Washington Post legitimizes it. So I'm not bashing anyone. I just a message board that quotes Bible verses is dangerous. Okay? Beware of false prophets. Isn't that a Christian thing? Isn't beware of false prophets a Christian thing? Is it sure? Enlighten Shekri. Isn't beware of false prophets? No, I'm not Q at all. Believe me, I'm H. Yes, beware of false prophets, okay? Beware of false prophets. That's it. I am not Q. No, I am H. I am H. My message board is Q, okay? I'm just going to stop talking about him right now. I'm going to, the only reason I did is because people were insulting me on Twitter, so that's it. Whatever, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. All right, so let's go to some other good news. So, all right, so they also have, okay, so Harp ran counter-espionage from the FBI in the Bay Area. He said, in addition to traditional political intel and diplomatic secrets, Bay Area spies often focus on things like R&D, technology, and trade secrets. It makes sense. That obviously makes sense. Be nice if Q kept him off the streets, but Papa D. Q is not competition to me. No. Intel Valor is awesome. I have a lot of respect for Intel Valor. I have a great deal of respect for Intel Valor. And I'm happy that Intel Valor and I agree on Q. And I have a great deal of respect for Intel Valor. Absolutely. So, okay. And I'll stop talking about Q. Fine. Okay. So, and he says, like in many areas, when it comes to counterintelligence and espionage, the Bay Area is a trendsetter. It's a trendsetter. It is one of the premier infiltration of Democrats. It's one of the premier places to infiltrate Democratic politicians in the world. It's a trendsetter. It's fantastic. As the Bay Area goes, so does the nation when it comes to technology. So why not when it comes to spying? It's true. Harp pointed out politicians with access to classified information are generally trained on what to say and what not to say. These are the biggest blabbermouths on the planet. But he also noted when you have a driver behind the wheel a day in and day out for 20 years, there are more opportunities to slip up. Yeah, how about like every single day she's on the cell phone and he's listening? Yes, dear. Yes, we're going to go ahead and have that meeting. It's a highly classified meeting. We'll have it tomorrow. Yeah, sure. We'll have it on trade. Sure. Yes, Asian trade. Yes, trade in Asia. Yes, well, we're going to talk about billions of dollars. Yes, this is Dianne Feinstein. Yes. Okay. President Obama wants to know about that and this and that and this. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Click. The driver knows, obviously. So. And So then Trump trolled. Trump asks if Dianne Feinstein will investigate herself. That's so great. They can't defeat him. They can't defeat him. Now they're saying that he's crazy. Mika Brzezinski's like, I dare you to find anyone who's known him who isn't. Yes, this is getting good. I dare you to Mika Brzezinski's like, I dare you to find anyone who doesn't think he's crazy. He is losing his mind, everybody. Meanwhile, Democrats are getting outed as like being infiltrated left and right. Trump asks if Dianne Feinstein will investigate herself over a Chinese agent. Donald J. Trump, Dianne is the person leading our nation in collusion with Russia, only done by Dems. Will she now investigate herself? That's so funny. That's so funny. Judge report details of Chinese mole by Dianne Feinstein signed for 20 years. We're talking about 20 years here. Oh, this is Dianne Feinstein. This is fantastic. The FBI told me. Oh, then she only 348 retweets. Hilarious. So she quotes Trump, and then she's like, the FBI told me 5 years ago it had concerns that China was seeking to recruit an administrative member of my California staff, despite no access to sensitive information. Irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. He had access to enough information to hurt the country. I took those concerns seriously, learned the facts, and made sure the employee left my office immediately. Again, that's stupid. Who cares? The employee was with you for 20 years. Democrats have a very interesting, really pathetic way of acknowledging and then trying to circumvent blame. Acknowledge, circumvent. Acknowledge, circumvent. Okay, nobody cares. And then to compare that to your actions, attacking the FBI and refusing the advice of your national security team, attacking corrupt FBI officials. Thank you, Trump. Yes, thank you, Trump. Removing corrupt FBI officials, one of whom lied 4 times, twice under oath, Andrew McCabe. The other guy literally wrote down exactly what the FBI was doing to Trump, which was an insurance policy, and wanted to stop him. And like this sanctimonious attacking the FBI. This is not you don't owe allegiance to the Constitution is the only thing you owe allegiance to. That's it. Not any department or agency. Sad. The advice of your national security team. His national security team never said that he hacked Russia. So I appreciated then and now the diligent work of our law enforcement and intelligence agencies and acted in the best interest of the country. Give it a try. You were compromised for 20 years. You have no shame. Whatever. It is what it is. Ray. Yes, I do know Intel Valor. Thank you. Check out Intel Valor on Q. You two would get along. Ray, thank you so much. Yeah, you have a great deal of respect for him. And he's awesome. So I have a great deal of respect for Intel Valor. Thank you, Ray. Thank you. So everything is like public relations spin here. Everything is just public relations spin. That's it. Just public relations spin. Instead of saying, yeah, you know, I was compromised for 20 years and I'm sorry. So this is hilarious. She should investigate herself. Exactly. I mean, that's the issue. That's what really that's what really is going on here. And all they can, let's look at the polls again. So I told you yesterday the midterms are going to be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Midterm polls. And they have Obama running, or like stumping and he's going to do rallies and speeches for people. But like the thing is, Obama is not on the ballot. He's not in politics anymore, and he and a third term of Obama did not happen. So Democrats up 4. The thing is, when they say when Democrats say that, oh well, we have to get 24 seats, they have to keep the 185 or so seats that they have already. Washington Post's Charles Lane, China hoping Trump receives a setback in midterm elections. So then all Trump has to do is say, oh my God, China hacked the elections. Oh my God, there's a Steele dossier that says that Dianne Feinstein and other Democrats, Tom Perez, allowed this to take place. It says so in the Steele dossier and in a drunken conversation. Oh my God, let's go ahead and investigate all the Democrats now. So let's just look at Trump really quickly. So Trump, so tariffs are working far better than anyone ever anticipated. China market has dropped 27% in the last 4 months. And they're talking to us. Our market is stronger than ever and will go up dramatically when these horrible trade deals are successfully renegotiated. So again, the tariffs are a negotiating tactic. What is that so difficult to understand for Democrats or people? Tariffs actually, in the short term, if it's a negotiating tactic, are very good. Canada has 180% tariff, something like insane. Hold on, what's the Canadian tariff on dairy? And there are things like, you're not going to destroy our dairy. Well, but wait a second. That's the whole problem with globalism and free trade, is that industries get destroyed. So your dairy industry is more important than our steel industry. How does that even work? So Canada dairy tariff. So I'm trying to find how Canada's sacred cows and 270% tariffs set Trump off. Trump's not wrong about Canadian dairy, The Atlantic. Wow. So does Canada really, this is Bloomberg, does Canada really charge a 270% tariff on milk? On some dairy imports, yes. Canada essentially allows two avenues for dairy imports, those within quota and surplus stuff. Okay. It's the latter where tariffs spike because Canada's whole system is built to avoid a surplus. So, hence it's supply management. Well, who cares what the system is built for? You're going to abide by free trade. You talk about free trade. Take milk, for instance. Within quota, the tariff is 7.5%. Over quota, milk faces a 241% tariff. But if other countries, dump steel in the market, doesn't that mess with quotas and the supply? Obviously, other over quota rates include blended dairy powder at 270%. Duties rise to as high as 314% for other products. Wow. Canadian officials argue that all countries subsidize dairy, including the U.S. Canada essentially does so indirectly by closing its borders and capping production. Oh, so then they hide behind, oh, well, it's a subsidy. Don't you see? It's a regulation. It's a subsidy. It's not a tariff. Meanwhile, Trump is Darth Vader. He's Darth Vader for this. What do cows drink? Do U.S. dairy farmers sell to Canada? Yes, bigly. So Canada has long, this is the Globe and Mail, Canadian paper. Canada has long maintained high tariffs, a tariff wall on most dairy products. The duty on milk is 270%. That keeps most imports from the United States and elsewhere out of Canada. Well, gee, that's nice. While helping to prop up higher domestic prices. How is this free trade? And don't say, well, you do worse. That's the whole point. Nobody wants any industry destroyed. That's the problem with completely unfettered free trade. That's the problem. It's always like, oh my God, Trump is this boorish barbarian. But when it comes to Canadian dairy farmers, okay. What is supply management? How is this free? How is this a free market or free trade? Supply management is the uniquely Canadian regime that governs virtually every aspect of milk, chicken, and egg production. How on earth could that be compatible with free trade? The system depends on three pillars: a tariff wall to protect imports, strict quotas that determine how much each farmer can produce, what? And fixed prices paid to producers? I mean, there might be elements of this with our agricultural system, but this is more of a central planning type of system. The system was created in the 1970s to help stabilize farmers' incomes, but as the food industry has gone global, supply management has faced mounting internal and external pressures, including persistent trade complaints from the United States, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. So then how is it that, like, Trump is this ogre? Fixed prices? So that's the thing. It's like, and they're worried about tariffs from Trump. This supply management in Canadian milk, chicken, and egg production is like ridiculous. It's definitely not anything to do with a free market that people say, oh my God, free trade. Anyway. And then you have the issue of China dumping steel. So this is CNBC. China's low-cost metal producers have been widely cited as the main culprit for the glut. In particular, the world's second-largest economy has been accused of dumping cheap steel on global markets due to a slowdown in domestic demand and a bid to gain market share. So, and of course, there are there's trade protocol. So we have a situation here where tariffs are working better than anyone expected. This is Trump. China market has dropped 27% in the last 4 months, and they are talking to us. Our market is stronger than ever and will go up dramatically when these horrible trade deals are successfully negotiated. America first. Tariffs have had tremendously positive impact on our steel industry. Plants are opening all over the U.S. Steelworkers are working again, and big dollars are flowing into in our treasury. Our country uses tariffs against, but when we use them, foolish people scream. Other countries use tariffs against us, but when we use against them, foolish people scream. Tariffs will make our country richer than it is today. Only fools would disagree. We are using them to negotiate fair trade deals, and if countries are still unwilling to negotiate, they will pay us vast sums of money in the form of tariffs. We win either way. Nice. So when Democrats get defeated, they'll say it was they'll say that when Democrats lose, they'll do this. They'll say, oh, that was Ebenezer Adams. Chinese metals are garbage and their certifications can't be trusted. When bridges fall down, people will realize that fact. Wow. Thank you, Ebenezer Adams. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ebenezer Adams. So what will take place is the media will initially say it was disappointing, yet look at the bright side. They'll say, oh my goodness, we got 20 seats, but not 24 seats. We got 18 seats, but not 24 seats. We got 13 seats, but not 24 seats. And then they'll say, well, you know, this Trump cult. And then they'll just try to go ahead and marginalize good people at his rallies. And they'll say, oh my God, we're up against a real problem here. It's Trump, his cult of personality. That's the next thing. It'll be his cult of personality that, of course, they have done everything to prop up. Whenever he tweets, it's like pearl clutching and like everyone's just, oh my God, he tweeted. And they'll first say, well, you know, it's a good thing we got this many seats. And then the Senate, they'll probably lose seats. So it'll be a real bad beating. they might even try to say, well, with the added seats that we got, even though we don't control Congress, maybe we can get people to flip and impeach Trump in the House, but that's not going to work because the Republicans that'll get elected will be even more pro-Trump this time around. You'll have Jim Jordan as the Speaker of the House. He's going to go after Rosenstein and Hillary, and Clinton will eventually get indicted. Like I've been saying, H predicts. And just like H said, Tony Podesta would get investigated under Mueller, federal criminal investigation. That happened. Clinton losing to Trump, that happened. The whole Russia nonsense being stupid, we found out. That's H predicted that in late 2016. Anyway, but then there will be a little civil war of ideas on the left. Cuba. What'll take place is progressives will say, you didn't listen to us, we need to move further to the left. Neoliberals will say, and establishment Democrats will say, you didn't listen to us, you moved the party too far to the left for the average American to gravitate towards, and they'll both be wrong. Because on the left, the progressives have zero foreign policy except hating Israel. And they don't make no discussion of foreign policy on the left has anything to do with Americans, American soldiers, bringing Americans home, ending regime changes. If Israel was doing to Yemen what Saudi Arabia is doing, there would be people protesting every single day in the streets. Roosevelt, Sean Spicer said Q is not real last night on Reddit. His account is verified. Exactly. Well, Roosevelt, 100%. Look, the whole thing, Trump doesn't know what the heck Q is or M or N or LMNOP or whatever. Roosevelt, you're 100% right. Thank you, by the way, for that awesome video. Yeah. 33, Michael. 33 Dungeons and Dragons dice. Roosevelt, yeah. Sean Spicer said Q is not real, but of course, of course Q is not real. Of course, it's a message board. It's very likely a number of college students and they're going to write a book. Very likely these college students, could you imagine how horrible people will feel if like college students write a book? We were Q and this is what we did. And it would be cruel. It would be very cruel because you're dealing with people's emotions. Like when people say to me, you're a shill, you're a hack, you're a shill. I've been told that like since I started going against the dominant paradigm, whether it was on the left or right or whatever. You're a shill, you're a hack. But wouldn't it be sad, like Roosevelt and everyone here, if a bunch of college students or one college student said, look, I've been Q and I'll prove it to you. And this is how I did it. And he wrote a book. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I don't think that a message board that quotes Bible verses and that says you believe in yourself and the deep state. Do you think the deep state is going to be destroyed by a message board on 8chan? Do you think that is even possible? So latest Q droppings. Let's see if I can even. All right, hold on one second. Um, so there's one link that, and then the proofs, like, what, that's stupid. That's an obvious, well, look, this is happening. And Trump said the 17th word. Like, that's not, if someone's trying to prove, if someone anonymous is trying to prove that they have credibility by saying that, look, Trump put 3 plus signs, and look, I have 3 plus signs here, but I said he would. It makes no sense. Like, they're trying to deceive you by making the most vapid correlations and saying, oh my God, look. It's kind of like, in ancient times when somebody would say, I am superhuman, look, I'm doing this. And people are like, oh my God, you're a god. But instead, this is an actual just message board. But see, like, I talked about all this stuff. James Baker fired, Lisa Page fired. I talk about all of this stuff. That's all I do every day, is like pretty much talk about all of these things. Think logically, mass exodus in DC, max exodus corporate CEOs. What person also has enough time in Trump's inner circle to spend all this time writing these endless questions? I mean, it makes Q is Sheila Bob. Tripped Breaker, I would buy the book. No, I don't love Q. I don't love Q. I don't even, it's a message board. Kimberly Smith, Q is Sheila Buff. You do it. Tripped Breaker, thank you. I'd buy the book. Yeah, I mean, it would be so sad. I mean, just like, let's see, so many. Okay, so 8chan. So conspiracy, fake news, the swamp is being drained. Trust the plan, justice. What? This is overt, like mind control. Overt. Think logically. No outside comms. Justice. Q. Why is this suicide watch? What the heck? And the trip codes are different. The actual. Yeah, I get emotional about Q because it's a message board. What am I supposed to be like? Oh, look. Tens of thousands of people are being mind controlled by a message board because the message board gives them false hope, and it's an obvious manipulating tactics from quoting Bible verses to giving these confidence, reaffirming these continually reaffirming messages. Okay, trust me, even if it was somebody within Trump's campaign, he wouldn't care about your well-being. This is not like some altruistic person who's just like you, who loves you. No, it's a kid or kids who are college students doing this. They have the time to do this. A super tech giant, this is a test. Thank you, Papa D. It's mind control in that they're reaffirming and they're this thing is quoting Bible verses and giving affirmative, like, trust the plan. This is a invisible. You have no idea who is telling you, who is quoting these Bible verses. You have no idea who is calling you a patriot. You have no idea who is saying, be careful. You have no idea. This is all an emotional, psychological, this is manipulation, like textbook manipulation. They make vapid predictions. Oh, Trump tweeted this, therefore you should believe me forever. Who cares? Who cares? I mean, Trump tweets a lot of things. I mean, they probably got trust the flan. Nothing. We got nothing for it. We allowed the deal to go through, and then we just got nothing. All right. I won't go ahead and focus on this anymore. Let me ask one question, though. Okay. Let's see what the link is to the latest Q. I wonder what Q said lately. I wonder what Bible verse he's quoting, or she, or whatever. Cooper sees truth. HN you are for real. Trust the live stream is NHA After Dark. Trust HN because you've explained and provide verifiable evidence for your claims. Cooper sees truth. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. HN. And now I've started saying H predicts. H predicts. And now that the people are getting really upset, it's like, you? Today, like, just people like on Twitter or just even on the message board, like, you're a shill. You're a shill, a crazy hack. You have no idea how good this anonymous message board quoting Bible verses and giving me hope and confidence is. You have no idea. Thank you, Cooper sees truth. Thank you. All right, so Cooper sees truth. Thank you so much again. Hold on, I'm going to get the link to the latest Q post. Hold on. Jaime Paredes. In my opinion, Q is a brilliant campaign strategy to unite Trump's base, but it doesn't, though. That's the thing, Jaime. It doesn't unite. There's nothing, because the thing is, it's actually, it has grabbed a hold of a certain part of Trump's base. No, I never said that. Toggle Bilgan, I never said people who watch me are obsessed with Q. I'm not dissing anyone who watches me. Like, I'm not speaking at anybody here. I'm just giving my thoughts on the actual the Q. So Q hasn't posted in weeks. Q rarely posts. Okay. Well, then what am I? Okay. When was the last Q? Oh. Q disappears and comes back. Okay. With new trip codes. Wow. Forget it. It's Now it's thank you, my friend. Thank you. So now it's obvious. All right. Okay. I'll stop talking about it. All right. So let's just go ahead. James Woods has some crazy. James Woods is awesome. He has some amazing tweets. He had a tweet yesterday that was like unbelievably amazing. All right. Okay. Shouldn't you have, real quick though, shouldn't you have the same trip code if you weren't actually like the same person? Papa D found Q response to com link demonstrated through knowledge, then wisely clammed up. Not a sense. Or one other way to look at it is just threw something out there, and in our turbulent political environment, something stuck, and then just, didn't want to, had busy with finals. I don't know. All right, so Judicial files FOI lawsuit for with the FBI for answers on the removal and reassignment of Peter Strzok, who was taken off the. Okay, so that's another crazy thing. Like Peter Strzok. So yesterday evening, I was very, very fortunate to be on Unity for Julian, Unity for Jay, to speak with Elizabeth Voss about Julian Assange, and Julian Assange, his mother, WikiLeaks have all stated, not to listen to anybody, anybody saying that Assange is safe, because he's not. And we talked about a whole bunch of things, and it was really, really great. It was a really great. It was a really great discussion, and I'm very honored to have been part of it. So Trump, I believe, must pardon Julian Assange. He needs to. I think that's very, very important. And then there's the issue of the 50% approval rating. Trump recently got 50% approval in the Rasmussen poll. That's really unbelievable when you think about any poll giving Trump 50% approval when the media is like almost universally against him in the most almost like unified, universal manner. But regarding China, I have a patent with a Chinese expat. He gets literally crazy when students come here, crank out an advanced degree, then go back, makes him nuts. I mean, for me, I don't mind if people in other countries come here and study, because if we go to other countries and study and come back, I mean, it could work both ways. Of course, our university system, I mean, a lot of people want to come here, of course. I understand that. I don't think people have said that China is the next threat. I do not think that China is a threat to us. I think that China is a competitor. I don't think that they're a threat. Periphery Pete, you are great. Thanks for this. Trip codes or book references explains why changes maybe. Thanks for backing Assange so much. Thank you, Periphery Pete. Thank you, Periphery Pete. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, without Julian Assange, what do we have? We have complete and unadulterated spin. Thank you, Periphery Pete. Thank you. Ebenezer Adams, the source doesn't matter. The message does. It might be better to be ambivalent rather than throwing rocks. No, I'd rather throw rocks at something I think, with all due respect, Ebenezer Adams, whatever brings people out to vote in midterms is good. I don't think that Q will, be it Q or Element of P. But Ebenezer Adams, I appreciate your support, and I say this with all due respect. I think it hurts because it creates dissension, because it is a message board. It hasn't posted in a while. Once it posts, people will flock to it. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Q said, "Oh, hate H.A. Goodman"? Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Q picked on an individual? That individual will have to get out the 7.62 by 39 and protect his home. Could you imagine if Q said, "Target this person"? That person would be, because there are people who are not you, obviously, and not anyone who watches this, but there are people who are absolutely devoted to this. I'm not talking about like you and everyone on here has a healthy view. I believe the source matters because the source, if it's nefarious, could lead people astray. I'm talking about something I don't believe in because too many people believe too much in it. That's why. It's dangerous. Yes, Q has said no violence. That's what I said. I said that if he did. That's what I'm saying. Like it's this, Ebenezer Adams, it is this allegiance or reverence or affinity for a message board that quotes Bible verses and that asks questions. And then the rebuttal from a lot of people have been, well, you know, it gets people going. Well, you don't need a crutch to get people get going. There's so much today. Just do your research. There's a million independent channels. Sticks, Hard Bastard, me. There's a million different, left or right. There's a million different ones. Yes, I am saying this. Agent Pepsi. MSM hasn't realized that they lost all their credibility when they hid Hillary and Obama's crimes and spewed lies about Trump. MSM is finished. Pretty much. I mean, it is finished. It is finished, although it does wield some power. It is finished, although it does wield some power. So that's the thing. So, I mean, Ebenezer Adams brings up a good point. Thank you again, Papa D. As always, thank you. If the source is nefarious, most people would, there would be a segment of Q followers who would find out. It would be the last to find out. And that's dangerous. If you manipulate even 1,000 people to do something bad, you know, that's the thing, this blind allegiance because, oh my God, Trump did this and this letter and this character or this or whatever. That's not something that I accurately predicted in 2015 that Clinton would lose. I predicted that Tony Podesta would be under criminal investigation because of Mueller. I wrote an article about that. I wrote over 100 articles saying Clinton would lose to Trump because, and then specific articles saying she loses because of this, because of, you can go back and watch my, you can go back, Ebenezer, and just go ahead, the swing states. Now, of course, I wasn't right 100%. I said Bernie, I stated that Bernie would win the presidency. I didn't know he would be cheated, but I said if it's Clinton, I said if Bernie becomes nominee, he wins. But see, again, I was wrong about that. But I did explain, I did talk about swing states, and I said that she would lose in swing states. And then I talked about the Steele dossier right when it was, I talked about a whole bunch of things that eventually take place. Am I perfect? No, absolutely not. But it's, you know who I am. You've seen my evolution as a human being, whatever. I was writing against gun control. Now I am for the Second Amendment, and I'm very, very happy the second Supreme Court judge, Kavanaugh, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, will uphold the Second Amendment. And so, and I've been saying all of this for a long time, like long before Q. So it's just, it's, you know what it is? It's when people get offended that I find very dangerous. Like they get this like visceral anger. But I see what you mean. But at the same time, also, it's like the concept that it's engaging people. People should be engaged without a message board on 8chan. Like, they don't need that. And especially one that quotes Bible verses. That's an overt manipulative tactic. And trip codes are unique to users. So you keep changing the trip codes. It's like, I have to say the Bible verse thing. That's a manipulative tactic. That's pulling at, it's an emotional pull. It's like saying patriots. It's like saying trust the plan. It's manipulation. It's manipulation. Especially since you don't know who's saying it. That actually makes it even more nefarious. You have no idea if it's a college student. You have no idea if it's a Democratic strategist trying to make everyone. It's not difficult to realize also, like, it's not difficult to realize that, you know, what is important to us. Well, we want to finally end this corruption. So that's, you know, that's pretty much what I talk about every day and what a whole bunch of other channels talk about. Let's see here. So an apology for what? What? November, I think that the House and the Senate will stay Republican. And I I think that the House and the Senate will stay Republican. I'm looking at something here. And I do believe that Democrats will continue to lose. I think that Trump will win again in 2020. I've been stating that since 2017. And I actually said that in late 2016 too. And I just can't wait. I can't wait till Democrats lose again. Again. In one poll, African American support for Trump is way up. Breaking. Records show Twitter is run by Democratic donors and activists. How Twitter is fueling the Democratic agenda? Well, we pretty much knew that. Twitter is not going to be around. I don't see Twitter around as I agree with you, Terrence Scott. I agree with you on that. I don't see Twitter around. I don't see Facebook and Twitter being. They might be around, but they definitely won't be as important to people's lives 10 years from now. So 2028, I mean, do you see Twitter and Facebook that important? I don't. And without Twitter or without social media, like Trump actually is just better at social media than the Democrats. But without social media, you would still have Trump, controlling, pretty much dominating the message on television or cable, because he's done that before. But you really have like the Democratic Party needs Twitter. Without Twitter, it's really nothing. That's like the hub where they can condemn and so let's go ahead. O.J. Clinton, the best in America in one name. Q drop 112. Cupid doesn't lie, but won't know unless you give it a try. Hashtag bad boy. Hashtag date that. Okay. I don't. Thank you, O.J. Clinton, the best in America in one name. So yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and read that article. Twitter is going down. I don't see Twitter, because the thing is, like, what does it provide people? It provides people a way to just share their their fleeting, flippant thoughts on life. Well, but then again, why is that even important? Why would that be important? D. Velasquez, wasn't Bernie in on the PSYOPs to get progressive money? Well, I don't know if he was in on the PSYOPs, but he eventually, D. Velasquez, he eventually promoted the PSYOPs. Don't you wonder why he never hammered Hillary? I do. DNC could care less that his believers got ripped off? I do. Bernie and Russia PSYOPs backfired. They did. It did. I don't think Lionel Nation is brainwashed by Q. I think that his view is that it is a good thing to investigate, which I can respect that. But from what I see with the quoting of Bible verses and with other aspects, I do think it is a pull, a fraud, a manipulative tactic to get a whole bunch of people believing one thing. When you also, he's firm in support of Q's message. The message, not the entity. He wears his Q shirts on stream. Like I said, I don't have anything against Lionel. I like Lionel Nation a lot. Like I don't have anything against anybody here. I do think it's very dangerous. And I think that it's very dangerous because first of all, Lionel Nation is not the type of person to get upset at somebody if they didn't believe Q or thought that it was nonsense. He wouldn't get upset with a person. I am referring primarily to people who are like, don't talk about Q. Talk about Q. You're going to get me upset. That is dangerous. There are people who are too emotionally invested, Caleb and Levi. That's the thing. If you're deriving some kind of confidence, if you're feeling better about yourself because of an 8chan message board, it's dangerous. That's my point. That's my point. You don't want to give like that much of your emotional well-being to an anonymous thing. But I mean, I think Lionel Nation's fantastic, but that's not the only thing he talks about too. Lionel Nation talks about a whole lot of things. So, and his take on politics is pretty awesome. So that's the thing. I mean, again, like I said, I don't like so D. Velasquez, yeah, I mean, with Bernie Sanders, I don't think was Bernie Sanders, I don't think was in on any scheme initially. What Bernie did, unfortunately, was say he made a concession and he said, well, you know, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to rock the boat anymore. And I'm going to try to build whatever coalition I can to see if at least one or two of my platforms could be implemented. The problem is single payer is not the platform that unites left and right. Bringing home soldiers is. Breaking up too big to fail banks is. Okay, here's an example. Here's an example of, okay, breaking up too big to fail banks. So the 6 largest financial institutions in this country today hold assets equal to about 60% of the nation's gross domestic product. These banks issue more than 2/3 of all credit cards and over 35% of all mortgages. They control 95% of all derivatives and hold more than 40% of all bank deposits in the United States. If they fall, then that's it. Six largest financial institutions own 60% of the nation's GDP. Control assets or hold assets equal to 60% of the nation's GDP. That's dangerous. That's all. I mean, it's dangerous. It's dangerous, and it's just too much power, too much wealth concentrated. So that's actually from Bernie Sanders' website. That's important. Breaking up banks is not so. It's so we don't implement socialist solutions or communist solutions and bail them out. Those institutions received a $700 billion bailout. and more than 16 trillion in zero interest loans from Federal Reserve. So, I mean, that's just one example. That is no longer there. So that's just an example. But I mean, you have this situation here where and this is a great article by Elizabeth Voss and Adam Carter regarding a Computer Weekly article on the whole hacking thing, which never happened. Even in the Computer Weekly article, the author never says that with certainty that the DNC was hacked. The DNC was not hacked. First, there's no evidence of that, sadly, and also, second, the intelligence community never said with certainty the DNC was hacked. The DHS report, the Department of Homeland Security, and the ODNI report state with confidence, not certainty. The most comprehensive thing, Michael, I'm glad you asked me that. Michael C., go ahead. All you have to do to tell a friend that, okay, so Michael C., go to Google, go to the Googles. I don't want to share this on YouTube. Just go Russia step ODNI. Okay, so Russia and then step, STEPPE, and ODNI. That's all you have to do is go to the Google and type in those 3 words, okay? Russia step ODNI. You will get the ODNI report, Grizzly step. Oh, no, sorry. You'll get assessing Russian activities and intentions in recent elections. Okay? And then you go down all the way to page 25, 23, and then just read the person. Judgments of likelihood, and then high confidence, because the whole thing is high confidence, generally indicates the judgments are based on high quality information from multiple sources. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. On page 13 or 23 of the PDF, they admit the ODNI, and which means the CIA, FBI, NSA, and James Clapper admit that everything they've said from high confidence, because nothing was certain, could be wrong. So Michael C., I believe that I'm speaking to Michael C., go ahead and show that. It's the ODNI report, last couple of pages, page 23 of the PDF, assessing Russian activities and intentions in recent U.S. elections. That's it. Game over. They're not certain about anything. Toggle a bill gun. Paper assets have no real intrinsic value like land. It's a deceptive argument issue. Real wealth should be measured in real assets. That's true. I mean, I agree with you. Well, land, you do have a deed, or you have property rights is important. I mean, that's the hallmark of a strong nation. I do agree with you about real assets. That I do agree with you on, for sure. I mean, if you're talking about gold, yes, but you're not going to keep your gold, in your house. You're going to have the title to a whole bunch of gold, unless you're thinking of keeping gold in your house. Or I do agree with you. The real assets like paintings or a house, car, yes. But if you have FDIC insurance, so and then the bank has insurance, stocks. You're right about stocks. So Toggle Bill, you're right about stocks, like a stock certificate. What is that even? I mean, it could be worthless tomorrow. However, if you get a dividend for the stock, there's a lot of ways to look at wealth, but I do agree with you. in theory. Ebenezer Adams, I get what you're saying, but it's all about majorities. We need to win, and if Q or Christ on a cracker brings them out, I'm okay with that. You know, man, I don't know, Ebenezer. I don't think Q will bring them out. You know, that's the thing. Vision for the future brings people out. Hatred of Trump, you know, some message board giving people confidence to do research. I don't think that brings people out. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I could be wrong, but I don't think so. It works both ways, because then you have people saying, hey, this is not right. You know, then you have people saying, don't, you know, getting too upset, don't mess with Q. So that it causes division, or that allegiance to the message board causes division. But thank you, Ebenezer Adams. Thank you. I agree with you. The turnout, I'm saying vote Republican. You got Michael C. Thank you. Michael C. Yeah. Just look at if you read the intelligence reports, the DHS and the ODNI report, just tell you, if your friend has time, just get they have warranty disclaimers, and they're written like a high schooler wrote them. I'm not going to sow divisiveness at all. I think that explaining that something is dangerous is not sowing divisiveness, you know. Thank you, Phoebe Sweet. Thank you. Thank you, Phoebe. Thank you. No, it's Jaime, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. Trump is the reason landowners in Desert LA County, California travesty. Papa D. Yes, thank you, Papa D. Here's the thing with voting. People vote for a vision, ideal, or a policy that they hold dear. If you're pro-life and you're conservative, religious, or if you want a border wall, or if you want lower taxes, or if you want to ensure that corrupt FBI officials are no longer influencing the election, if you want a less hawkish foreign policy, which is what I am, you know, let's put it this way, if Clinton was less hawkish than Trump, as horrible as she is, I probably would have gravitated towards, well, if she was a lot less hawkish than Trump, meaning not just words, like had conviction. Trump has a conviction in, he even said he wanted to bring home soldiers from Syria, and then a coincidence. Trump has a conviction in being less hawkish. Bill Kristol voted for Democrat. Max Boot voted for Democrats. So Democrats are the party, the liberal neocons. It depends on what your value system is. If you hold something dear to you, then you're going to vote. You're not going to vote for hatred of Trump. You're not going to vote for whatever, like a message board or whatever. Like these things, both left and right, that doesn't get people to the polls. People vote because of a vision. They vote because of a specific vision. Reagan was, if you look at the best presidents or the most celebrated presidents, whether it's FDR or Reagan or Theodore Roosevelt, JFK also, obviously, just in terms of, you talk about messages. People need to easily understand a message, a campaign policy objective or message, and they want to be able to have some kind of, they want to be inspired. So Theodore Roosevelt, FDR, JFK, Reagan, and people will say, oh, you're crazy for even bringing Trump in there. Trump has a way of communicating. Reagan was the great communicator. Trump communicates. Steel tariffs are for steel workers, steel companies. Steel is a strategic industry. Now, you can disagree with if it's effective. You can disagree with whether or not it's the right thing to do. But he gets the point across that he cares about people that Democrats don't care about. Democrats do not care about steelworkers. Democrats don't care about workers who work in manufacturing plants. They don't. They don't bring these people up. And that's why people vote. Ebenezer Adams, single payer is a vehicle to financially ban guns. Well, I don't like that, but I don't see that. I don't want any vehicle to ban guns, but your premiums would be $10,000. Oh, that's okay. That could be the case, yes. Yes. I see what you're saying there. I see what you're saying there. Also, one thing with single payer that people don't get and people on the left don't understand, you can't have single payer and then have 10,000 soldiers in Iraq. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. People with universal health care or countries with universal health care don't have thousands of soldiers stationed in Iraq, Afghanistan, in Syria, and Yemen. So I do agree with you on that, Ebenezer Adams. Yeah, I mean, at this point right now, look, I have an uncle in France. He told me years back. He had a open heart surgery for for $150. It's pretty good. So I said to myself, that's pretty good if you can implement that in the United States. But see, the thing is, you have 330 million or so people. You have a military industrial complex that is overbearing, that even Eisenhower warned us of in the 50s, and now it's infinitely more powerful. That's the thing on the left. Like, they don't get, like, foreign policy is not just hating Israel. And I say this from the vantage point of I'm pro-Israel, but I also want a Palestinian state. How many times do you hear talk of a Palestinian state on Twitter from people who hate Israel? You don't. They just want people to leave Tel Aviv, like the Jews to just leave. It ain't gonna happen. You have to have some kind of two-state solution, but that's a whole other story. My point, though, is the left, that's their version of foreign policy. That's not it. You have to make foreign policy. You can't just say, well, slash the defense budget. You have to say, well, make it, humanize it, like show some patriotism and say, bring our soldiers home. Show some patriotism. That's why when they lose, all the same usual suspects and culprits on the left will be like, see, I was right. See, I was right. And they'll be infighting. And I'll be so happy that I won't be there anymore. Oh, my God, I'll be so happy. First, it'll be H predicts, because H predicted it. That's even on RT. I was on RT months back saying that they'll lose the House and the Senate. But that's the thing. So now I would not want anything that would, Gaza and the West Bank. Gaza and the West Bank. But and you have Trump running a message You have Trump running a message that actually speaks to people. You can disagree with it, but if your way of disagreeing, it's so pathetic too. Like all they do is people like, well, he said that they're bringing rapists. Like, no, that was one thing he said that even I disagree with. That it was phrased in a way, but he also said in another part of speech that most illegal immigrants are good, or undocumented immigrants are good people. There are a lot of good people. They don't talk about that. Then he said, then somebody said that he thought, somebody said that Trump said, poop hole countries. Well, that's hearsay again, hearsay and gossip. No, we have no proof that he said that. As Twitter was caught, so this is Paul Sperry, New York Post, as Twitter was caught last month shadow banning Republicans, and then their response was, well, we don't shadow ban. We just ensure that anything conservative is labeled as hate speech in our algorithm. After Twitter was caught last month shadow banning Republicans while giving Democrats unregistered voice, the social media giant insisted it has no political agenda, but records of its political contributions from board members, top executives, and major shareholders have all given overwhelmingly to Democrats, including Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, while snubbing Republican Donald Trump. Federal records reveal 80% of Twitter's corporate PAC contributions in the 2018 election have gone to Democratic candidates, none of whom are moderates. Liberal Democrats also got top dollar in 2016 race. The lobbying records are reviewed. Moreover, show Twitter has sought to influence Congress and federal agencies on behalf of Democratic causes and against President Donald Trump's policies. Vice News last month broke the story that Twitter limited the visibility of Republican Party Chairwoman Rhonda McDaniel and several Republicans leading Hill investigations into the Obama administration efforts to spy on the Trump campaign, including Representatives Devin Nunes, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, Mark Meadows, and John Ratcliffe. So you have Twitter pretty much overtly just trying to tip the scales or ensure that Democrats win. San Francisco-based Twitter blamed it on a search engine filter deployed against bad actors such as racists and trolls and users inciting violence. Yeah, which it maintains accidentally ensnared Republicans while curiously failing to affect any Democrats. How is it that what's his name? Keith Olbermann did not get ensnared in every single tweet. Every single tweet by Olbermann was an F word, Nazi, F word, this, da. Almost every single tweet. How is that even possible? What is this? Bison harasser busted after string? Why would you mess with a bison? That's like a recipe for disaster. Taunted a bison? You got to be real drunk to taunt a bison. Mammoth Springs, Wyoming. An Oregon man who was caught on video harassing a bison. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. I mean, you could get, those things are really big. Really big. Could you imagine trying to go after bison? A bison? That's no joke. That's not a joke at all. Do bison charge? Whoa. That was a really nice bison too, because oh my god, he actually tried to oh my that was the nicest bison ever. He actually tried to like charge the guy and then just forgot about the guy. That's crazy. Oh my god. That is crazy. And the bison like didn't even bother anybody. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is crazy. I mean, yeah, Keith Olbermann. I'm looking at the comments. No, he actually just like he was trying to like mess with the bike, like just trying to like look at it and yell at it and stuff. I'm surprised the bison didn't try just the thing is like the Trump won. It's really hilarious too because Trump won, Republicans will win again. Republicans won even though you have social media actually the interesting thing is like Trump continually defeats them at their own game, and that's what. Oh my God, a grizzly! It's game over unless you have some kind of protection, and even if you have like a rifle, it's like it's still hard to shoot, and if a grizzly runs at you, like um, Trump, like he oh, Hillary Crybaby's election. So tell me again, like CNN, what they do, and I was thinking about this also. CNN, they look at Trump supporters like, oh my God, these people are crazy. The meltdown, the hilarious meltdown, the hilarious meltdown when Clinton lost. I mean, it's like you talk about a cult. Like, what H predicted that? They were crying at the Jacob Javits Center. They were yelling and crying, and that was all normal. They like to pretend that they're more elevated or exalted or more moral or ethical, and they engage in the same things, and they look the other way because then they go ahead with their political ideology and say, well, this was okay because of this, and that. So it All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead. We'll reconvene in a couple of hours. And let's see. Let's see. I'll be doing some voices a little later on. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for listening in. You are all awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And to my super chat, thank you so very, very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll reconvene in a little later on this evening, and just have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And again, the same person who's investigating Trump allowed for 20 years a spy to just go ahead. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you, and God bless all of you. And thank you so very much for everything. Dianne Feinstein had a spy for 20 years, and now she's investigating Trump. Trump wants her to investigate herself. Thank you so very much, everyone. I will see you soon. To my super chat, thank you again.